Aloha. It is day 27 of the Eat Local Maui challenge with Project Locavore. My name is Sunny Savage and I am eating 100% locally grown, farmed, raised, foraged foods from the Hawaiian Islands. And what a delicious journey it's been. So check out my other videos and my blog to see all of the delicious foods and the farms and the wild foods to get a little sneak peek into there. But I wanted to cover how to make Kiawe flour today. And if you go on to YouTube, you can type in how to make Kiawe tea, and I go through a step-by-step process with that, but I've never really covered the flour. And so one of the big things that you want to make sure is that you have a dry environment. So when I harvest the beans, I'm looking for beans that don't have mold. If they have some of the bruchid beetle exit holes, so if they have some little holes in them, that's fine, but if they have like a ton of holes, then maybe not that one. So there is a learning process for picking the right beans. Then you're gonna need to dry your beans. I give them a quick rinse and then I'll lay them out in tarps and dry them. And then I actually have a dehydrator because I do so much of this. I invested in like a really nice dehydrator that can actually fit quite a few. But seriously, like, you can put these on trays and drive to the leeward hot sides and button up your car and dry these things in a hot car. You can build solar dehydrators, which is something that I've done with friends that is definitely in line for more community wide scale processing. But you're gonna need to dry them. You can definitely do it in an oven, like put it on the lowest, absolute lowest setting that you have on your oven. Say that's 200, and just really keep an eye on them. Then I put the beans into a 5-gallon bucket that has one of these lids that has a gasket in it so that you are truly getting an airtight, as close as you can, seal. And you want to make sure and like push all these sides down and get it totally sealed off. Then when I'm ready, I can just come in here throughout the year and harvest some of my beans for making tea and making flour. So I want to make flour now. Even though I've had these stored in my bucket airtight, I usually will do the extra step to just pop them in the oven for like 5 to 10 minutes at that like lowest temperature possible, 175, 200, just to crisp them up a little more. I can't tell you how important it is to have super dry beans, because if you're doing this at home and you don't have some mill, you're gonna be using a high-powered blender. And I've honestly had my trusty Vitamix for like 13 years, and it's worth the investment to buy quality things, because if you really start getting into producing your own stuff like this, you're putting a lot of pressure on your device. And so I love my Vitamix and it can handle this job. So I break my pods up into like 2-inch long pieces. You don't have to be sitting there with your tape measure, but just go ahead and snap them and break them up, put them in here. Yeah, I didn't mention it's really loud, so be forewarned. Okay, so I used my spoon and I kind of scraped it at the sides a few more times and hit the blender button again. And the reason that you need to use super dry beans is that otherwise it's gonna get gummy in there. These are super hydrophilic, meaning they love water, will literally absorb water from the air, and so you have got to have super dry conditions all the way around. No moisture, no that one drop of liquid at the bottom of your blender or whatnot. So yeah, so I've given this multiple blends and scraped it and turned it and all the things, and even then it's still a little bit gummy, but I am going to now put it through this colander, and I just kind of use that size. I have a nice bowl lined up underneath. Oh, you can't see that. And I do that in increments, and I'll just use the backside of my spoon and tap it kind of like that. And I just keep doing that. And you can see that it's somewhat grainy. It has like some real texture to it. So there are certain applications that it works for and certain things that it doesn't. You know, when you're doing a home preparation like this, you're not gonna get it super, super fine. So yeah, I'll keep doing that, and then I want to show you a little quick recipe that I'm going to do with it. All right, so I got all my Kiawe flour sifted there, and I've got maybe 3/4 of a cup to a cup, and I have a bunch of macadamia nuts that I gave kind of a rough chop. And I'm gonna go ahead and combine them all with that Kiawe flour, along with some cinnamon and some allspice and some salt and some coconut oil and some butter and some honey. I've got my oven preheated to 300 degrees, and I'm going to keep an eye on it and spin it, turn it about 2 or 3 times, and just cook it. I would imagine it's gonna take like 15 minutes roughly to give these a nice toast. And even if it doesn't seem like the caramelization has set, once you cool these, it'll like firm up more. The thing with the Kiawe flour is it has so much natural sugar in it that the smoke point is really low, meaning you can burn it. So keep your temperature down and always think slow and low with Kiawe. All right, so I pulled them out of the oven. It didn't take that long, and I would really encourage you to just go low and slow. You know, 250, I think I said 300 before, like turn it down, down, down. And yeah, you get this kind of chewy kind of texture, and then I tore that apart and put them on top of some yogurt, and I'm gonna have a little snack. And yeah, it's kind of like a local granola, and delicious. So get out there and get what you can of those Kiawe. I keep seeing them dropping. You know, you find these favorite trees, and different trees go at different times of year. So yeah, keep your eyes out and fall in love with Kiawe. Such a great friend. Alrighty, aloha.